Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the one who thinks relics rock.
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Everstone, Discovering Ignis. If you're curious about our two-player perspective and accessibility, check out our other video, Rolling with Two, Everstone. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. In Everstone, you travel the land looking for ancient relics to repair and harvesting the resources needed to do so. Relics can be sold for powerful effects or equipped to your caravan to enhance the actions you do in the game. Whoever reaches 10 reputation first triggers the end of the game, and then at the end of the round, whoever has the most reputation wins. Okay, Will, so why did we get this?
Well, it was on Kickstarter. We saw a video, thought the mechanisms looked interesting, and so we backed it.
And so we have it. All right, so what do we like about the game?
The dynamic actions.
Yes.
There are only 4 actions in the game.
Yep.
However, unlike other games that have, minimal actions, a lot of those other games, like, okay, you'll mainly be doing this and this, and you have to do this one. It's not the most interesting, but it's kind of necessary.
This is subpar.
It's subpar. That is never the case with this game. Every single action they manage to make very dynamic.
And very important at different points, not just of the game, but like you really feel like you need to move from one to the next to the other to the last one, then go back and forth. But you're not always doing them in the same order.
Yeah, or maybe you're focusing on these two for a little while, and then that sets you up so that now this one is super powerful.
Yes.
So then you go over there. And you're always having to move, so you can't just do the same action over and over. So you're always going to be moving to one of the other 3 of the 4 actions. It's just how they built it from the ground up is fascinating.
Agreed. And then to work off that, also the structure of how you resolve an action, you always resolve it from top to bottom. So at the very top, you could have an upgrade that you would do before you actually would do the main action. And then there's kind of this secondary support action that you can only do if it's not covered up. Because this is your workshop also. You need to put the relics you find in these workshop spaces because that's something you need to work on. But you're covering up a potential action.
Sub-benefit.
Yeah, sub-benefit. So you really also have very meaningful decisions on where you put things. And then even going back, then you have relics that you've built and you enhance the actions and you do those from top to bottom. So one, you don't have to remember what you did. It's not like you can jump from this thing to the next thing and then, you can't go all over the place. You have to do it in order. That just streamlines it. So the gameplay flows really well through the whole thing and you're never confused as to what you just did.
Right.
I really like that. And then the depth of play.
Yes, because, well, like Sarah said, you had 4 spaces. That essentially is your hand limit.
Yeah, that's your
because
cards.
that's what you can hold on to. However, if they're full, that can lead to a totally different strategy of, well, I'm going to keep getting cards because then I have to get rid of cards, and each time I get rid of a card, I discard it and get its discard ability.
Right.
So it's a different type of engine that's not related to, well, I've built these things, now I have to run this. You don't have to run that. You can just discard cards and have interesting play and decisions there as well.
Right. And there might be cards where it's like, well, I don't really want to build it and keep it, but it's sellability. You still have to build it. So it does seem a little pricey when you're first learning the game, but then later on, some of these abilities are really worth paying the cost to build it just so you can then sell it. I mean, you're not getting money for it, but you can get a powerful action.
Right, which then might trigger a whole host of other things.
So it really all works very well together and is a very engaging play. And then if you mix in those merchant skills, which are for more advanced, like once you've really got the game down, these give you asymmetric powers that will lean you one way or another to, you can do this better than everyone else can do. So then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to lean into that and really do that more.
Yeah. Yeah, turn to turn, it was extremely engaging.
Yeah.
I had full intentions like one night, like, well, let's just set it up and then we'll start in on it and we'll finish it, I don't know, tomorrow.
Yeah.
We finished the game
We
that
finished
night.
the game, yeah.
And we had no intention of doing that. It's just, we couldn't stop because we saw what we were doing.
Right, because you have choices that you have to make at the beginning of the game to set up.
Right.
You get 3 relics, and you're going to put one right into play under one of your actions. You're going to put one in your workshop to be built, and then the other one gives you resources, your starting resources. So you've got a really interesting dynamic choice from the very beginning. And then once you make that choice, you're like, well, now I want to do what I know what my first action is going to be.
Yeah.
Because usually that leads you to, oh, this is amazing. I got the resources I needed to build this thing. I want to go repair. Or, oh, I didn't quite get what I needed, but I got this cool action under explore. So now I want to go explore. And so that's kind of what led to, yeah, we're just going to set this up to, well, let's just take the first turn.
Yeah, and the second, and the third.
And then we just finish the game. And it's like, oh, oops.
We're tired.
We're tired. All right, so that is everything we like. Unfortunately, there are a few things we don't like. The theme.
Yeah, it feels underdeveloped.
Yeah, it's like very bare bones fantasy.
I think the rules were like a line that just says, hey, your caravan arrived at Ignis, and
you're the first people to find this ancient location. Go discover it. And so we kind of had, it felt like we kind of had to put our own narrative in it, especially when we kept getting a lot of relics that looked like stuff from our modern age.
And had no business being here?
Yeah, I mean, they were slightly different, like a GameCube that was kind of actually more a little rectangular or a stuffed animal, but there were other fantastical...
Now, I do have a solution for that, and I'll cover it at the end of this video.
Right, but it felt weird that I've got colored gems to fix a stuffed animal. That just felt weird. So I guess in my mind, I had to twist it as more of, well, this is not exactly the modern things that I'm thinking of. This is some mystical totem of moose, and I'm fixing it with magicalness, I guess.
Maybe.
So it's just for how wonderful all the mechanisms were. We just kind of wish the narrative and story and world had matched the awesomeness that is the game.
Yes.
So that's where it just kind of fell a little flat. It's beautiful art. They came up with really interesting names for the things, but we get a one-line introduction to this world.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And then the other thing is, unfortunately, we are going to need to point you to our Rolling with 2 video because we have a lot of accessibility challenges that we covered. In brief, the rules are not the clearest. There's a lot of nuances that the rules don't fully cover. And so it's just cognitively a little challenging to learn. The designer is working on a appendix that will hopefully be posted to Board Game Geek that will explain some card interactions and the merchant skills that will hopefully fill in the gaps. But also there's some colorblind accessibility challenges.
But check out that video.
But check out the video because we really go in depth on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the clarification is part and parcel for a game like this.
Yeah.
Because of how much is interconnected.
Right.
With every single action. It's like, well, you do this and that's connected to all these in this way. And like, oh, okay. So, but what happens when I have this? Yeah. Okay. So, but the designer is working on that.
Yep. All right, so let's cover who this is for. It's definitely going to be for advanced gamers.
Yes.
This is kind of one of those weird, it's in the medium weight, but it's kind of on the heavier side, but it's not a heavyweight game.
It's just very involved.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think advanced gamers really salivate for.
Right.
And they hope for whenever they play a medium weight game. And they're like, oh, it's just doing that simple thing. This one delivers above and beyond.
Right.
So
it's not going to be brain burning, but it is going to keep you engaged and it is going to be challenging.
Right. Of course, if you do suffer from analysis paralysis, this will probably catch you pretty badly your first couple plays.
Yeah, once you get a couple plays down, but there's a lot of text and choices on the cards. Well, not text, but because a lot of it's iconography. But there's a lot of choices to do. They're multi-use cards. So you can use it to build, you can use it to sell, you can use it to discard. And when you're first learning, absorbing all of that is really difficult.
Yeah.
So it's more...
You were like, I don't know how to prioritize this.
So, yeah, speaking from one who suffers analysis paralysis, it's best to focus on what are you trying to achieve. And if you're like, I want to make my explore action better, well, then you're just going to focus on the bottom part of the card, because that's the ability you're going to get if you put it under the explore action. So then you can just, for the moment, for your learning games, ignore everything else about the card.
Yeah.
And just focus on that, and that will help you.
Yeah, even like our third game in, we were exploring this one merchant ability that we felt was really, really powerful. And I had Sarah try it this time because I was just running away with the game.
Yeah.
And she was still loath to like discard cards. And I go, no, you're supposed to do that.
Yes.
She goes, but I don't want to. It's like, no, do it. And so she starts doing it, and she starts seeing these amazing turns. Like, oh.
But that particular one did it really. If you want to do well with the card discarding one, where you get the benefit twice, you really need to focus on playing a very different way, which is you don't really build any cards. You're just trying to get as many cards as you can on your board to discard them, and that's how you play the game, which is 100% different from everybody else playing the game. So that skill just may not be for everybody.
Right. And we still think it needs to be
yeah,
back in line with the other abilities, because it's just so powerful.
Yep. All right, let's go over our ratings then.
So for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Everstone, Discovering Ignis, roll for you?
It rolled, oh, I almost had the number right. 5. I think this is a really good game. I really enjoy the mechanisms. I really like the tableau building and going from different action to different action. And I really like the art. The theme is still not quite there. I had to kind of make it up in my head. The biggest challenge I have with any of this type of game is the race to the finish. Will is always 100% faster than me. Well, not 100%, but Will is always faster than me. So it is very difficult for me to win. In fact, the only time I won was with that merchant skill that makes you play through discarding cards, and it's a very different experience that I did not like.
And I still had to help you.
And you still had to help me with it to win, but it was still a relatively close game up to the end. It's just not what I want from the game. So while I enjoy playing this game, playing it against Will is just still not my favorite. It's, again, the race to the finish. If it was set number of turns, like play for 10 rounds or whatever, then I'd probably enjoy it a little bit more. But it's structured the way it is, but that's why I give it a 5, not a 6. I'm not a fan of race to the finish.
Okay.
But I love everything else.
For me, I definitely have an issue with the undercooked theme.
Yeah.
It has so much good potential that's just not used at all. I also think the game has a number of stumbling blocks with accessibility.
Yeah.
With that said, I give it a 6.
Wow, that's how much he loves the mechanisms.
This game delivers on mechanisms like I haven't seen ever, because there's no dead turn.
No.
There's always something. Even the action harvest, which is mostly how you will generate stones, which are your resources, is an interesting experience, because you'll roll 3 dice, and you can have the potential of discovering a card for free. Basically, boom, you built it. It's free because it wasn't damaged at all. You don't even need to repair it. But to do that, you need to match those 3 numbers. Well, it gives you a free tool which manipulates the dice. You can do like pip it up 1, or pip it down 1, or flip the die. And then if you have the harvest sub ability available, you can pay different colors of resources to do one of those tools again. And so you have this neat little dice manipulation game.
Or you can just roll the dice perfectly and discover it like you did once.
I've done that too. But that's only half of it. The other half is, okay, maybe I don't want to discover the thing. Maybe what I really want is red gems or blue gems or yellow gems. And so then 2 of your numbers have to match within a range. So it's like 2 to 5 to get blue. 6, 7, and 8 gets you yellow, and 9 and up gets you red. Okay, you manipulate the dice to get that number. Well, how many do I get? You look at the 3rd die. So you can start incorporating that into manipulating things.
Your token on the influence track that you activated goes up 1, and that almost always gives you something.
Well, especially in a 2-player game, since you block up all the blank spots.
Right.
So you even have that going for you. And that doesn't even count the caravan upgrade and the relics that are underneath. And that's just the harvest action for gaining resources.
Which most other games would be a very subpar, boring turn.
You get 2 stone.
There you go. All right, next. No, this is great, and I understand completely why you would give it a 6.
Yes.
Because it's everything you want out of it.
Right. And it does things so well, and it does different things for all 4 actions.
Yes.
And I'm just blown away by the intricacies. I mean, yes, I'm not saying the game doesn't have issues. Because I did admit, I don't care for the undercooked theme. I don't care for the accessibility issues. And they were extensive. We actually went for a very long time on Rolling with 2 because we have so much respect for the game. But the mechanisms, good Lord, they were impressive.
They scratched an itch.
Yes.
All right, well.
So 11 out of 12.
We can highly recommend this game. Some caveats, so definitely watch our Rolling with 2 video. But otherwise, yeah, check this one out.
All right. And Sarah.
Yes.
Remember how I told you I had an idea for how to rework this theme?
Okay, go for it.
Okay. And the nice thing is, you can still pretty much have the game as is.
Okay.
You just layer this on top of it to help make sense.
Okay.
Okay. So with that said, you, as a player, are a reality shaper. You have mastered the art of using the Everstone, which has the ability to shape time, space, and the fabric of reality itself. Legends speak of a place called Ignis that is filled with the Everstone. Recently, it's been discovered. Wanting your chance to make your name, you head out, packing up your caravan to Ignis and the surrounding areas. There, you find a curious collection of oddities that are not quite in your reality. These are the relics of Ignis. Use your mastery of the Everstone to repair these relics, bringing them fully in to your reality. So what will you discover in Ignis? And we've been Rolling with Reviews. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2, that's TWO. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Discord, we have a channel on Tabletop Express. Check the show notes for the invite link.
If you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.